So I screwed up my first attempt at live stream. I recorded the entire thing without sound, so that wasn't good. I've redone everything, and here I am again trying to get this video out there. So I want to make this video because I received my first bit of art from Carlos Trigo, who is an amazing artist. I wanted to, because I know that my channel is pretty much geared toward people who are making their first comic or need help with their work in making a comic. And I'm hoping that by sharing what I learned by making my first comic, that it will help you to learn something about the industry and about the indie comic game. So I started writing a script a long time ago. Probably I started beating it around in my head. Probably the story, probably 2 years ago. I wrote a script, and then I started looking for an artist. I happened upon Carlos Trigo, and that's who I hired. So at this point, I've put out 2 videos. One video was the art of writing your script. The other was the art of hiring an artist. And I've been through both of those processes for my first time. Of course, you learn something every time, I'm sure. But if you're a noob to the comic game, I suggest you look at those videos and see what you can glean, what information you can glean from those. So I got my first bit of art back from Carlos, and absolutely amazing. When you're sitting there and you got your, which I use an iPad because I can carry it anywhere that I write my script on. When you're sitting there and you've got your iPad out and you're writing your script, you cannot imagine how amazing it is to get that first set of pencils when you're everything that you wrote and the ideas that you wrote down and just comes to fruition, and you receive the first set of pencils. It actually becomes tangible at that point. And whatever it is that, if you're not an artist like me and you're just a writer, whatever it is that you think that that your artist is going to come up with, no matter how good a job you think they're going to do, man, if you hire a good artist, if you hire one that's reputable, one that's finished a couple books, then I guarantee you're going to be blown out of the water by what they do with your script. I gave Carlos a little information about the background of my story and a few things about what inspires me as a storyteller, and he just took it and went to extraordinary lengths with it. I can't explain how appreciative I am of him, how much he took interest in, how invested he was in my story. But that being said, whenever you receive your pencils, that is the time, if you have some things in your art that you don't like or that's not just quite right, maybe there's something just a little bit off, when you receive your pencils, that's the time to tell your artist. Don't wait till your artist gets it colored. And because what happened to me was, I mean, nothing's wrong with my art, but I've been in the creative art industry kind of for a long time. I've done I had a sign shop which I did all the graphic design for it, and I also had I've been avoiding doing websites, I should say, for almost 10 or 15 years. So I have a little experience with art, but it's nothing like a sequential artist or a comic book artist. What those guys do is just amazing to me. But when you get your art, and I felt like that, I got my pencils and I wasn't sure how it was going to come out after it was colored, because I know that a lot of things become more 3D and more fleshed out when you add color, when you start adding shadows. And so I wasn't sure how it was going to come out, but I assure you it came out amazing. Some of the things that inspired me, I spoke about in one of my other videos, was Star Wars. I don't know if I actually told that to Carlos or no. Well, when I say Star Wars, because I don't want to go full fandom menace on you, but the original trilogy is what inspired my storytelling. Well, I was inspired by a bunch of things. The original trilogy, there's a movie out there called Kroll, which I recently rewatched, and it's terrible. It's a terrible movie. But when I was a kid, it was amazing. Um, it's corny, but there's a movie called Kroll. There was just all kinds of those 80s corny musics, movies. What's the other one? With Pegasus. Clash of the Titans. Clash of the Titans was a good movie at the time. I'm not talking about the new one that they just came out with, but the old one. But anyway, that's here or there. Some of the things that inspired me were, and what I believe is I got to looking around, and there was no, it just didn't seem like there was any good stories coming from the mainstream. So, I decided, hey, I'm going to give it a shot myself. I'm going to do it myself. And at that time, my sister had received a if you're like us, you're cheap. We got the same mom and dad. We're 100% siblings, and she received a she did the 23andMe or the DNA thing, and she found out that we got a lot of Irish and English in our ancestry. And I had already been looking at some of the. I knew that I had a lot of Irish, but I didn't know how much. And I started looking at some of the. For some reason, I got caught up in this rabbit hole, and I went down this rabbit hole about Greek culture and Greek culture. Where am I going? Irish mythology. I got to going down this rabbit hole about Irish mythology, and I got to seeing all these stories about these gods that were they were amazing. They had amazing stories, and I've not heard anything about any of them until I started just doing a little bit of research, and I found out, man, these are some amazing stories. And I wanted to take that, and I kind of took those stories and loosely kind of used them to form my own story. Of course, when I say loosely, I mean very loosely. So I guess the thing to do would be to show you this art that I'm bragging on, that I'm so happy about. Like I said, I'm totally stoked to get this. This piece of art has 2 Easter eggs in it, and I'm going to tell you about one of them, and then I'm going to let you find the other one. The other one's a little bit difficult. You're going to have a little bit of a time. I think that you're going to have a little bit of time finding that other Easter egg. But if you do, I'll be amazed. I'm going to give you the, I've talked about it a little bit, but I'm going to give you a hint for the one that I'm not going to tell you about. If you don't see this broadcast, because right now I don't have any viewers because I don't have an audience hardly, but if you see this video on my YouTube channel, then if you know what this second Easter egg is, then just leave it in the comments section below. Oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be talking about my comic. I finally got some art to show. I'm going to be talking about my comic, EverMatter. It's an amazing. I think it's an amazing story. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about what's going on with it, and I'm excited about getting that tangible piece of art. So let me show you that right now. All right, so like I said, one of the great stories that inspired me was the Star Wars saga, the Star Wars trilogy. So this is my first panel. It's part of my first panel. I cut it off a little bit because I didn't want to give too much away. I'm stingy. This is the very first panel you see when you open up the EverMatter book. And if you look right over here, yeah, so I don't know if Carlos did it on purpose or not, but for me, I seen it, and immediately I thought Star Wars, the beginning of the Star Wars saga, and I thought, what greater way to start a comic than giving that subtle little hurrah for Star Wars, the original trilogy. And no matter what you say about the prequels or the sequels, or if you're part of the Phantom Menace or you're not part of the Phantom Menace, the Star Wars, the first Star Wars trilogy, it was a great story. It was a great story. I know the history behind it, and it took some work to get it to that point, but it was a great story. Now, so that's my little hurrah to Star Wars. So What else can I say? This is EverMatter. It's the very first panel of the book, and it's amazing. There's another Easter egg in this picture. It's you know, if you're clever, you can find it if you pay attention to what I've been talking about. So, you know, I just want to do a stream. I had two purposes for this stream. One was to test it because I'm supposed to be doing an interview with Brian Starkey, who is the writer of Russell, about a drunk cat. So I'm going to be finding out what all that's about, especially Wednesday night. I'll give you a time if you follow me on Twitter. I'll give you a time that you can catch that interview. I hope that it's going to have more viewers than I have right now, because for right now at this moment I have 0. But it's all good. It's all good. We'll build this thing up. Oh yeah, what else was I wanting to say? Oh, if you are if you are writing your first comic, then I have a couple of videos that you might want to watch. I got the first video is the art of writing script. The second video is the art of hiring an artist. And I think you'll enjoy. I was just getting my feet wet, the art of writing script. So the video is not that great. I think you'll enjoy the art of hiring. Excuse me. I think you'll enjoy the art of hiring an artist if you so choose to watch that. So have a great day, and I hope that your imagination runs wild and all of your dreams comes true. Thank you.